Our first guest, Bryan, is a frequent guest here on our show to keep you informed on money matters. Today's topic deals with a new study about how single women regard money and financial issues. Good morning, JB.
Good morning, Cheryl. It's good to be here, and I hope that 2018 I can be back.
Absolutely. We're 3 weeks away. I'm sure you'll be back before then.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about single women and finances. And first of all, I want to point out that women can be single for a lot of different reasons. They can be never married, they can be divorced, they could be widowed.
So true. And I hope that all of them will use you as an example of just consistency, and your love for financial empowerment is obvious when we discuss these things, because we found in a survey that was done by Fidelity that a lot of single women are not confident about this discussion, and it's admirable that you really are. And so I want to encourage them through this discussion and through the study that actually it was, Cheryl, the widows who were the most financially confident among single women. I'm glad that you broke out the categories, because each of them have different distinctions.
And I'm surprised about that, because a lot of times women, particularly of a certain generation, pass on the financial responsibility to the husband, and then when the husband passes away, they're left not knowing where anything is.
Yes, and the advice from the widow was to not do that. They said that, and the widows were actually more likely to have a financial plan, and they actually told in the study that they actually started the plan prior to their spouse's death.
That's good.
So, and then you found that women who had never married at all were actually the least financially confident and the least likely to have an emergency fund and to be prepared and confident about preparing for the future.
Did the survey say why?
I actually thought that it was probably because in the survey you couldn't tell the difference between the ages. So the widow was more likely to be a mature woman. The woman who's never married was more likely to be the younger person that's surveyed. So they didn't break it down by which age group these women were. So you never know, because it was for women 18 and over.
Okay. So according to the survey, what was the biggest financial worry of the single woman?
The biggest financial worry was being prepared for retirement. And then it led to, after being prepared for retirement, the next one was actually having the emergency fund that they may need, and the next one was surviving a job loss. You know, so, and amazingly though, that the men actually, their number 2 concern was surviving a job loss, where that was third for women. You know, women were just, you know, being able to make ends meet in general.
So it sounds like the biggest key then is to sacrifice a little now so that you can be prepared later on when things might happen.
It's true, and women are very good at that, Cheryl. Survey said that women save, save, and save. So I want to encourage us now is to move that next step, to move past saving and learning more about investing. And that's where the challenge is. I remember about 20 years ago, Oppenheimer did a survey, and it said that women generally save more than men, but they end up with less, unfortunately, in many cases, because of the investment choices. They tend to be more conservative. And now here we are 20 years later, Fidelity bringing out a study that's saying we're doing the same thing. So we have to begin to invest, to look at the options. In many cases, it might mean hiring a financial professional to assist you if you don't feel confident, because we really have to outpace inflation. So we have to look at investing, going past just having your money saved in cash.
It's interesting, because I did just read something recently that said millennials are not interested in the stock market. They're bypassing that, looking for other investment opportunities. And that could be an interesting trend if that continues.
And that's okay if they're looking at things like starting their own business and investing in themselves, you know, very similar to the stock market. But if you're just sitting the money in cash, and then that can be a challenge, because cash, you know, historically is not going to allow you to maintain your standard of living when you're talking about a financial goal 20 years down the road. So the key there is to encourage single women to get a financial plan in place. They tend not to have a financial plan. It said only 5% of the women that went through a divorce actually sought out financial advice, when divorce is emotional, legal, and financial.
And you could make mistakes when you're in that emotional upheaval.
Financial mistakes, definitely. And during this year, I appreciate the opportunity. We talked about financial challenges during a divorce. Well, a key category in the study was looking at the practices of people going through and surviving a divorce. And there was a lot of information about the financial challenges that women are having. And it's taking more than a year for them, most of them, to recover from a divorce financially.
So that's one good step. What are some of the other key steps that single women can take to get on the right track?
Know what you own and know what you owe. You know, don't just know what you have, but know what you owe on that. And set up a key plan that will help you set long-term goals and set up a strategy of paying off those debts. So you definitely have to get the financial empowerment as a single woman, that this is my responsibility. Don't just get in the front seat. Take the steering wheel and change the gears. Get totally in charge.
Drive your own future.
Drive your own future. We really have to do that. And I think this study is bringing home the fact that we are making a lot more money, but it's what you do with that money. The widows will tell you it's very important to your financial future.
Own your own future.
Own it.
All right. Thank you, JB.
I want to be like you.
I want to be like you. And JB Bryan offers free money seminars every Wednesday at noon and Sunday evenings. You can get more of her financial wisdom. You do need to pre-register for these events. You'll find a link to much more information on WTVR.com/VTM by early this afternoon.